Travel fuels the imagination. Settings are crucial. In Naggar, a small town in Himachal Pradesh, you spend the night in a 17th century castle. In the morning, looking over the valley from the parapet, you wonder about other people who've stood in that spot over the past centuries. What were they thinking? What were their lives like? In Gulmarg, wrapped up in a traditional Kashmiri duvet, you watch the snowflakes gently waft down on the other side of a bay window of your suite and wonder if you're dreaming. Winter is gorgeous in Kashmir, especially when you're warm and cozy. In picture-perfect Munsiari, on the northern edge of Uttarakhand, you live in a village homestay and are as awestruck by the Himalayan vistas as you are by the hardy lives of the women folk in the hamlet. On the periphery of the Corbett Tiger Reserve, you're woken by bird song. You walk out of your eco-lodge to find trees trampled by elephants at night and fresh paw marks of a big cat on the sands by the riverside. Very quickly, you're reminded of your place in the scheme of things. And in a quaint little town in Himachal, Finnish-style log cabins pamper golfers teeing it up at a colonial-era golf course. Travel is, at the very least, a rite of passage. And where you choose to lay your hat can often define that experience.
A small town with a large imprint on history, Naggar in Himachal Pradesh was the capital of the Kulu kingdom for 1400 years. The seat of the erstwhile royalty was Naggar Castle, built almost 500 years back and converted into a heritage hotel in 1978. I wouldn't call it a castle though, conveying as it does a colonial connection. The Naggar Castle has nothing to do with the British Empire in India. This gorgeous wood and stone structure is built in Himachal Pradesh's traditional Kathkuni architecture, a dying art mostly on account of the large amount of wood that it needs.
Naggar, huh? I know you want to go to Manali, we'll go there, but you know, this is just like a little smaller town.
Dude, man.
That is an ibex on, isn't it?
Looks like.
Check it out.
Have you actually seen have you seen a live ibex ever?
Yeah, of course. You'll see them, in fact, above Rohtang.
Yeah.
This is a very old place, yeah. It's a 16th century castle, huh?
Yeah.
This wood is the Devadha, which is cedar tree. And so what these guys do is called the Kathkuni architecture. They put like wood and stone,
Right.
and you can't see it here. But inside here, they're like slats of wood. And they kind of fit together without any nails. So this entire building has no nails.
I mean, only to all these access here.
No, and the thing is, it's earthquake proof because when there's a tremor, it kind of settles down and becomes even more solid.
So this is more recent then?
Yeah, this is all recent, just to hang things and things.
Curiosity picked by Naggar Castle, Johan and I discovered that there's a village on the hills behind Naggar that still has some of the finest standing examples of Kathkuni architecture. From Naggar Castle, we head to Rumsu village. Rumsu still has a fantastic collection of traditional Himachali houses, most of which were built 2 to 3 centuries back. Some are still inhabited, while others serve as storehouses. The villagers, used to curious visitors, are unperturbed by outsiders and go about their daily routines paying no heed to us. And that makes Rumsu a spectacular place to get an insight into life at a traditional Himachali village that hasn't really changed in ages. The old houses in Rumsu look like ancient leviathans towering over the valley that spreads below them.
God, this temple is just gorgeous. Huh? Look, like wind chimes, ancient wind chimes. Huh?
Wind chimes, that's what I saw.
Well, they are like wind chimes. They like rattle in the wind.
Yeah.
Look at this one. Yeah, this was like really old, huh?
Yeah, this must be around like 200 years old, maybe.
Uncle, namaskar. ये होगा कितना पुराना होगा ये घर? कितना पुराना होगा घर?
ये तो
300 साल होगा है. कोई नहीं रहता यहाँ पे अब. यहाँ कोई नहीं रहता.
Satish Kumar is an artisan who still works with wood, etching and carving blocks of wood to be used in columns and other parts of Kathkuni houses. He's one of the few people left skilled in the technique. Kathkuni in its traditional form use unviable quantities of wood and is now used only for constructing temples. It's a family trade for Satish. His father was entrusted with the restoration of Naggar Castle.
If we hadn't stayed at Naggar Castle and marvelled at its architecture, then we may never have heard of Rumsu, let alone visit the village. Who knows how long these ancient houses will survive, and maybe this was our only chance to see them. It's amazing how travel often writes its own script. This unplanned adventure has turned out to be one of the highlights of our travel in Himachal Pradesh. Tennyson once wrote, "And they were all, when their souls grew warm, poets." I've certainly been warm at the Khyber, hidden from prying eyes by pine-lined slopes, just a stone's throw from the gondola station, forming a neat semicircle in the shadow of Mount Afarwat. The spanking Khyber Himalayan Resort and Spa is unquestionably the plushest place to lay your hat in Gulmarg. Sitting here, facing picture-perfect vistas of the snow falling on Afarwat Peak, I've been busy reading and writing while waiting for Johan to fetch in.
Miraj has used his travel writing gig to land us a sweet deal at the Khyber Resort in Gulmarg. From the pictures I've seen online, it looks like the poshest place we've stayed at yet. I'm not complaining though. If this is what Miraj means by backpacking, then I'm all for it. I'm gonna make the most of it and head straight to the spa.
The next morning, Johan and I decide to explore the resort. Johan is a bit of a fitness buff and heads to the gym, while I can't resist the novelty value of swimming in a heated pool that faces snow-clad peaks. The snow has been falling since the morning, but we're hoping that it'll clear up in time for our outdoor lunch experience, the chef's take on the famous Kashmiri Wazwan.
You know, Wazwan's supposed to be like this 36 dish feast that they usually do on, well, houseboats, and I think it's done at weddings and sort of special occasions. So what the chef was telling me was that this isn't like a full-blown Wazwan, but it's something very similar, inspired by. Oh, there he is. Let's see. See, I got this thing here. Okay. Let's see. Wow, that looks really good, man. Wow. I have no idea where to start with it. Okay.
Is there like a certain order?
I don't know. There's the chef. Let's ask him.
Hi, this is Chef B. Today I'm going to introduce the traditional food in Kashmir, Khyber Tarami, sir. Then let me first introduce, this is Haq Saag.
Haq Saag.
Yes, sir. And this is mutton rogan juice. It's lamb. Yes, sir.
तो ये जो वाजवान होता है उसमें कितनी डिशेस होती है? उसमें बहुत सारी. This is वाजवान inspired, I was told.
Actually, sir, it's a limited. This is
Limited वाजवान. अच्छा, like a manageable वाजवान.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, chef. Thank you for taking the trouble of putting this together for us. What a gig this is, man.
What a setup, huh? Can't complain.
It's safe to say that we are not likely to forget our experience at the Khyber in a hurry. Not only did we have the most luxurious living quarters that we've had yet, just the experience of watching the snow fall while feasting on Kashmiri cuisine, relaxing at the hotel, and even putting in laps in the pool has been unique to say the least.
Miraj and I are staying in Somali village, a gorgeous Himalayan hamlet of wood fires, hardy farmers, and earthen huts just above Munsiari. We've checked into different homestays. It really trumps a hotel experience, and I really feel like I've got a sense of the community living here.
क्या हो रहा है? नाश्ता तैयार है?
हाँ तैयार है।
भाई थोड़ा ना मैं मुँह हाथ धो के आता हूँ। चलेगा 5-10 मिनट में आता हूँ।
हाँ ठीक है भैया।
My host Rekha has been lovely and has served up some seriously delicious local fare.
दीदी क्या सुंदर जगह है यार तुम्हारी ये।
हाँ भैया, हमारा मुंशियारी बहुत अच्छा जगह है।
बहुत सुंदर है। तुम्हारा घर भी ये बहुत सुंदर है भाई। क्या दृश्य दिखता है यहाँ। सुबह में उठा, मैंने अपने पर्दे हटाए और सीधे बिल्कुल दर्शन हो गया मेरे को। और इसमें तो पैसा भी लगा होगा तुम्हारा काफी?
हाँ, जैसे पैसा लगा
तो बैंक से लोन वोन मिला क्या?
तो बैंक से नहीं लिया, हमारा ही संगठन से हमने कोर्स जमा करके
अच्छा।
अपने ही ये उसमें से ये हिमालयन आर्क से।
हिमालयन आर्क? तो हिमालयन आर्क संगठन का नाम है?
नहीं, ये हमारा ये कंपनी का नाम
कंपनी का नाम है। लेकिन ये बताओ यहाँ पे मतलब अब पूरे दुनिया से लोग आते होंगे तुम लोगों के पास?
हाँ, आते हैं भैया।
तो काफी फर्क पड़ा होगा, मतलब एकदम से गाँव में मतलब कहाँ से लोग आ रहे हैं, तुम्हें कुछ फर्क लगा है थोड़ा बहुत बाहर के लोगों से मिलके?
हाँ, जैसे बाहर और लोगों से मिलके उनके देश के कल्चर के बारे में जान पहचान बनती है, तो अच्छा लगा।
Kamla and Rekha welcomed Johan and me into their homestays and looked after us like we were family. There's no overstating the value of an experience like this when you're traveling to a new place. It's a win-win. Travelers like us get an authentic experience of life in Somali village, while the ladies get an additional source of income. I don't feel like this often, but this is one place I could easily spend a month in reading and writing. An hour's drive out of Shimla lies Naldehra, a charming little hamlet sought out by people looking to escape the sea of humanity that descends on its popular neighbour. Naldehra is ideal for quiet evening walks, those looking for solitude, and it's a popular destination for itinerant golfers. The preferred place to stay here is the Chalets Naldehra, a gem of a property with Finnish-style log cabins just a stone's throw from the golf course. There's even a solar panel heated swimming pool, a luxury in these parts, which I waste no time in diving into. I'm catching up with Amish Sood, a keen golfer and traveller who owns the chalets. We're hoping to get 18 holes at the Naldehra Golf Club.
Hi Amish, how's it going, Baba? You're finally here, huh?
Very well. Did you enjoy the pool?
Fantastic pool, yeah. We're not going to play golf now. We're going to get late.
But the weather's turning. Let's get 9 holes before it starts to rain.
Okay, I'm going to get out, huh? 2 minutes. I'll see you outside. Okay.
The Naldehra Golf Club, a colonial-era golf course, is the most challenging layout in the region. It's really demanding both physically and from a course strategy point of view. One loose shot and the ball ends up rolling down the slope and into oblivion, never to be seen again. And with such spectacular views, it really is hard to focus on the golf.
Wow, look at the view, man.
It's unbelievable.
How do you focus on golf when you got this view, yeah? What's the best score you shot here?
I've gotten an 8 over here, best.
8 over, huh?
Yes.
That's pretty darn good, yeah.
Yes, it's pretty good. I mean, if you play regularly here, you can actually get that pretty frequently.
Yeah, I can imagine. It takes a lot of local knowledge, this course.
Yeah, I mean, that's the fun of like living here, because when you go and play at these championship courses in Chandigarh or Delhi or Bangalore or somewhere, you really enjoy them.
You really enjoy them, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because that's a different cup of tea, honestly.
Yeah, totally different cup of tea.
But I mean, if you play here every day, on the other hand, you'd be like super fit, yeah.
That's true.
And also, you can probably get a book and chill. I mean, I can imagine sitting around here reading a book. They're not like, you don't have to really hanker for a tea time. Come and tee it up anytime you like.
That's true.
It's kind of like relaxed, huh?
Yeah, and it's not like a rushed course. It's for right now we're the only 2 people playing on the course, so it's like your own private golf course.
I mean, I can't remember the last time that happened to me. Actually, I can remember the last time that happened to me. It happened to me in Ambi Valley. Because Ambi Valley these days, I mean, there's nobody there.
Right.
And I went and played there a couple of months back.
Okay.
And there was nobody. And it was magical. It was like childhood. I remember.
Stunning when you're the only person on the golf course.
Akele, bilkul, no caddy, just on your own.
Right.
Vanghat is an eco-lodge just outside the periphery of the Corbett Reserve in the rarely visited Kalaghar Tiger Reserve Division. Since it's not within the reserve forest, you don't have to roam about in a jeep at Vanghat. Here, on the banks of the mighty Ramganga that still teems with the Mahasir fish, you can walk everywhere and experience the thrill of finding fresh paw marks on the soft sand on its banks. Vanghat isn't for the casual tourist, involving as it does a strenuous 2-kilometer walk from the roadhead. But for those who make the effort of getting here, the experience is unparalleled for its sheer proximity to wildlife.
Welcome to Vanghat. Thank you so much. Thank you for the lovely walk. Jeez. Oh, is there any place around here that you can get to without walking through half the jungle? Oh, good boy. From Munchari to Corbett, huh?
Here we are, huh?
कुछ खिदमत करें? चाय, पानी, कॉफी, whatever.
Since Samantha opened it in 2005, Vanghat has been hosting a small number of visitors, typically birders and wildlife enthusiasts, who relish the lodge's remote location far from mobile phone networks and human inhabitation. Here, the animals and birds are at home, and we are very much the visitors. Samantha is taking us for a walk in the forest where he's promised to give me some tips on shooting wildlife. We ford the river on this makeshift raft to the other side into a dense forest which Samantha says has a healthy population of tigers and elephants, among other creatures. Samantha says the walk is about 8 kilometers and we might spot some animals on the way. I just hope we spot them from a safe distance.
What a spot, Samantha! Like a proper watering hole, huh?
Yeah, it's a very good spot for, it's quite a tucked away spot, and so a lot of animals come here to drink, and it's very quiet, so it's a wonderful place,
This is awesome. We were thinking of making a stop at Corbett, and we wanted to stay at Dekala. That was the plan. But we would have been in a jeep. We would have gone to spots. Maybe we would have seen a tiger or whatever. We're not going to see one here. Probably not. I hope not. But
You don't want to see a tiger?
not on foot, bro. No, man.
For taking photos of these animals, like what do you have any tips for doing that? Because I mean, just seeing the animals, that's one thing, but then to be able to even get a chance of taking good photos, do you have any good advice? I mean, you must have had great photographers come here for that purpose, no?
Yeah, you see, what happens is now we have got very used to this, drive in a jeep, and take pictures of wildlife. But I think a very non-disturbing way is to actually to be at vantage point or in a hide, and instead of you going to wildlife, let the wildlife come to you, and then you don't, and ensure that you're not disturbing them. So that's it's something that in future I'm sure will be very popular in India, and...
But is there a place on the way? Actually sit and Johan can set up the camera.
Yes,
and, we can maybe hope for somebody to sort of... You might get like a bird or something.
Well, it sounds like that's more of a waiting game compared to the, Jeep Safari, where you're like trying to go out and find the animals. You're saying that it's going to be more of a thing in the future to just sit and wait for the animals to come to you.
Yeah, I think we would have had enough of the 4x4s, I think this is more satisfying, it's more intimate with, a one-to-one with the forest. This is how we always were. I think humans as a species, we were earthed, we were doing things on foot, but now all that has ended pretty much. So there are these very rare little spots. So so you have to be careful in these areas not to disturb, so that we don't pose to be a threat in terms of disturbance to wildlife. So if we do it responsibly, it's very sustainable. It's no carbon emissions, you see.
Yeah. You want to take a dip in the animal pool?
Maybe not now. I'm sure I will come back for it, and when the tigers are here, when it's hotter in the summer, then I'll be here.
Should we find a vantage point where we can set up?
Yes, we will go up, let's stop by at one of these vantage points overlooking the Ramganga. Yeah. Good place for fish eagles and otters and animals pass by. Yeah.
Chalo, lead the way. I mean, I'd love to stay here all day.
Tiger time is approaching.
Exactly. Exactly. Whoa! Okay, it's all good. It's all good.
So now we're going to go back and then we'll put up the camera trap closer to the river.
Even though we didn't see any animals, it was an invaluable experience just to understand what it takes to be a wildlife photographer. Patience is the name of the game because there are no guarantees that you'll spot something.
This should be a good spot, with the tree here and the trail going like that and another trail coming like this.
Bit of an open area here,
Yeah.
so I'm sure that
So let's put it up
if
here.
anything passes here, this would be
Yeah. At
pretty
this,
ideal, huh?
Yeah, at this one
So
level.
then,
it's something
that camera trap, it's going to catch motion even if they're passing all the way out
That's
here?
right,
huh?
that's right.
Yeah.
Something coming from here and something passing by from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's set it up. Show me how this works. I've never set one of these up before. Honestly, if I knew there were so many animals around, I would have been a bit nervous about walking around the area. Although we just caught porcupines on film, Vanghat's cameras have captured a range of the forest denizens over the years. Like Samantha said, for every time that you see an animal in the wild, it's probably seen you 10 times. Mirage and I have wanted to camp since we got on the road, and the opportunity finally came in Himachal Pradesh. Halfway between Naggar and Manali, we started hiking up from Banara village through a gorgeous pine and oak forest.
Oh, bit of an obstacle. Nothing can stop WION travel. That was easily done, Johan.
Eventually, after 4 hours of huffing and puffing, we finally reached the venue of the Fourth Language Festival, a lovely glade in the middle of the forest. While participants at the festival, mostly college students from around the country, settled in, we found a vantage point to set our tents up. The whole premise of this festival is to take youngsters to a remote location outside their comfort zone and the bubble of their regular lives. Then they're encouraged to interact with each other, meet people from different countries, and broaden their horizons. What a great concept. There's nothing quite like setting up a tent in the wilderness to get back in touch with nature. The elements affect a campsite like this. Small joys, like huddling next to a campfire on a cold night, makes you happy. It's a wonderful way to realize your place in the scheme of things in this world. Something we tend to forget in the cities. Given a choice, I'd pick a night in a place like this over a luxury hotel any day.